Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wine Wednesdays. I'm so excited. I have my beautiful, lovely, wonderful friend Miriah. Cheers,
Hi.
Miriah. Thank you for joining me.
Cheers.
So I was gonna your wine glass.
Oh,
Your
yes.
wine glass. Yes, Bernie grabbed me
Thank
one of
you.
ours. Those are the ones we made together.
Yeah.
That one turned out really pretty. I like that one. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
Mhm. That one turned out really good. That was a fun day. So
I don't
thanks
know.
for
Yours
joining
are pretty good.
day for casual conversation. Um, for those of you who don't know, I've known Miriah. I don't even know how many years it is now. Yeah, I
I
don't know.
don't know, 8, 10 years,
I think
20.
it
I don't
is.
know.
I
Some days
know
it
it
feels like we've known each other forever.
does.
So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely does. And I have to say, Mariah is one of those blessings that came out of my HVAC career.
I love
You know,
it.
like totally. I feel very honored that, of course, Roger, your husband, was one of my customers, one of my awesome customers, and then it was like meeting you, and we've become such good friends. So, I feel truly blessed when I can look back at those years and look at some of the relationships I've made and that we've kept and have bloomed from them. And Mariah is one of those ladies. So I'm glad you're here tonight, and let's talk about because Mariah has two teenage boys, and they are like kind of like my adopted sons.
Yeah. One of them is definitely yours.
Yep, yep.
We,
One of them.
we over that one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so we were talking before, we talked about like just everything that was going on with COVID and kids being at home, and like how do you keep two teenage boys from climbing the walls?
It's definitely a challenge because they're at that point of wanting to be independent and they want to do everything on their own. So trying to convince them to do things is a bit of a battle because if it's not what they came up with first, it's not something that's going to work. So we have a lot of balance with them, with both of them. Austin, obviously, he's 17. He's driving his own car. He's doing his own thing. So, but he's always been good about balancing out everything. If he's going to go out and spend the night with his friends, he's going to make sure that he's home and had dinner with us and spend time with us to kind of equal it out. So he's a little bit easier because he's older and more independent. Ethan being 14, he can't really go anywhere. He can't really do much of anything because we're all working full time. But it wasn't as hard with him. We found a lot of chores and stuff for him to do in the summer, which was good because he was too young to have a job.
Yeah.
So we got to earn a lot of money that way, and he got to spend a lot of time being at home, talking with his grandparents on the phone. But it was pretty much just trying to find a balance. If you want to go and do things with your friends, you have to kind of equal things out to try and occupy time, I guess, more than anything. But he likes to cook, so he was pretty easy. He was that ideal child that you came home and the table was set and half of dinner was ready to go. And so COVID wasn't all completely bad for us, and there were some great bonus perks to it. So for sure.
Yeah. Well, and especially, I love that. Hi, Colleen. How are you doing, girl? That's one of my girlfriends from Fort McMurray.
Oh, hi.
So we're talking to Mariah, and we're talking about two teenage boys and keeping them occupied and over COVID. And you know what? I was kind of bummed out this summer because the summer before we got to have Ethan come hang out with us for a week.
Yeah, he stayed with you guys. I know. He loved it. He loved it. I know. He was I think that was the hardest part for him was not being able to go anywhere, not being able to do anything. He did see one friend. It was kind of because she has younger children. It was kind of the terms that we had. She was okay with her son coming here and spending time with Ethan if Ethan wasn't spending time with anybody else. So it was harder on him to not be able to go anywhere and not be able to do anything for sure. But I mean, he wasn't the only one facing those situations and he understood that. So, which was good, but it was definitely a hard time for people with young kids, especially with younger kids. Like mine
Yeah.
are old enough to be able to entertain themselves, but you take small children into the mix and it's a handful for sure. for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness, for sure. So you're talking about Ethan with cooking. So what kind of stuff did he like to cook?
Okay, well, let's see. Tonight he asked me if I could buy him a blowtorch because he wants to learn how to make creme brulee. That one's not happening. He's like, yeah, just can we get a blowtorch? No. Um, he pretty much just looks up a recipe and starts cooking. He wanted to figure out how to make this really neat whipped iced coffee. So he spent multiple amount of time on that. I have videos of him making this creation. He learned how to use the smoker, and he started working with Roger on ribs and ham and different types of pork tenderloin and stuff. So that was good. Um, a couple different desserts that he came up with, but pretty much it was the basics with chicken and everything. He took cooking classes at ATCO, so he's familiar with how to use everything in the kitchen, and he was always really good that way. So yeah, it
So did
was.
he
Um,
to take cooking classes with Atco? Like, do they have a facility you go to take the cooking classes?
yeah, they do. They have ATCO cooking classes down by Crowfoot
Okay.
in that area, more like the Marda Loop area.
Yeah.
And you can pre-book in. We did a week in the summer, and he's too old now at 14. He did it up until I think 13 was his last year. But it's a full day, all day for a week, and you learn how to make 3 different things that day, and you take it home with you. And they teach you how to work in a kitchen with gas appliances because it's ATCO gas.
Yeah.
But it was neat for him. Like he learned how to handle everything in the kitchen, everything from when you first walk in the kitchen to when everything's done, from making the meals, putting the dishes away, like cleaning up after yourself, everything. They taught him everything. It was really, really good for sure.
Wow. I love that. You know what? I didn't even, and I think you mentioned it before, but I kind of forgot about it. But Atco Gas has that. I mean, I think cooking classes for kids, I think that's just amazing.
Oh, it was
Like,
great. Yeah.
how fun. I loved cooking from, I think I was like in grade 4 when I started cooking. And I loved it. And it was like so much fun. Oh,
Yeah.
Colleen's got to come here. I can't imagine being a teen or a child during this time. Yeah, I know how crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
Well,
was it was trying for sure.
yeah, yeah.
I think the hardest thing for them was no social interaction. Like you're
Mhm.
not at school, and my kids did do the online schooling,
Yeah,
but there's no social interaction. You're alone, and with the parents working and the kids being home alone, they're alone all day. And
yeah.
it's very hard on kids to have to deal with that. Like mine both went back to school, but even parents that have children that are at homeschooling right now, that lack of social interaction is really hard on them for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you find it with you guys, like as a family unit? Like, were you finding you were spending more time having those conversations and hanging out more and playing games and
We became a lot. We've always been a very close knit family, you know that,
yeah,
but we became much more close. Like we had our Saturday night movie nacho night, and that was every Saturday night. That was what was gonna happen, and different events that we started just doing as a routine because we used to go to the movies all the time or we go out for dinner all the time. When now you can't do that, but we were home. It was we'd play. Ethan and I would play games together, and we definitely became a lot closer, and conversations that we never would have had before we were having, talking about things that you would never talk about, like Austin's applying for university, going over different university careers, seeing what we thought he was interested in a year ago. We had no idea that his mind had changed. Being able to find out what he was interested in, what he wanted to do, why, how do you plan on getting there, and have those conversations, it was definitely more positive in that sense for sure.
oh, I love that. I love that because I think that it was a good opportunity to bring families closer together and even if it were close, just that next level kind of thing of communication and yeah, yeah. So let's talk about one of your favorite things to do, baking.
I love baking. Yes,
Yeah,
baking is my therapy for sure.
yeah, and I find 'cause like this time of year, like I used to bake a lot and then I kind of didn't for a lot of years. I just got so busy with work all the time. And you know what? I kind of missing it especially now because it's like October and I'm like, it's pumpkin spice month.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I live to bake. Like I was telling you earlier, like baking is, to me, it's a therapy. When you're so caught up in things and your mind is everywhere, you're forced to concentrate. You're forced, even something simple like measurements and mixing, but you can't think about anything else but what's in front of you, and you can let everything go. And when you're really happy or you want to share something, you're baking because you want to share that happiness and you're giving to people that you care for. Or when you're really stressed and you're really unhappy, it's a way to alleviate and relieve everything as you're putting stuff together and making cookies and kneading dough and rolling things out. It's just a great stress relief to me. So we bake a lot around here. Yeah, I bake a lot. So I'm pretty sure everybody who knows me knows at least once or twice a week I'm probably going to show up with baking. So
I love that.
it's
I love it. You're you always you oh I'm like I'm in awe of your Christmas baking.
uh,
Mariah does the most amazing Christmas baking, and she puts it together in little tins or boxes or whatever, little goodie boxes. It's almost like, oh, what am I getting this year? And I remember when I was working, I get the box. Yeah, sometimes don't even see it.
Yeah, I love my Christmas gifts. I do my Christmas baking for the people that are close to me. So obviously you got lots. And I put together a little gift basket and I give my baking because people generally give something. When you're giving to somebody, you want to give a piece of yourself, right? When you're somebody that you really care about and you want to share something with them, and baking is a part of me. So if I'm giving something like that wrapped up in a bow, it's because I care deeply for you. So I'm giving you something that is an emotional part of me. If that makes sense, I'm not quite sure if that does,
You
but
know, it totally makes sense because when you get that baking from you, I mean, it's always so like it's just so special. You feel special that you took the time, you baked it, and then you give the gift. And when I received the gift of that of your baking, it's always like it is. It feels like a piece of heaven. It's like a piece of Mariah, and it's awesome. And I love that you do that. And yeah, I'm just you and I need to get together and do some baking.
we will. Well, I'm going to try a new recipe for you for this weekend. So we'll see if they turn out. We don't know.
Wow,
We'll see. I like to try
yeah,
something new once in a while.
I love it. What are your favorite things to bake?
Ginger snaps. By far. That was my grandma's recipe. So growing up, my grandma always made these cookies for us, and she had her rule: you make the dough, it sits in the fridge for 2 or 3 days so it gets its full spice, and then you bake them. So my grandma passed away years ago, but I was very, very close to her growing up. So every time I make them, it's my connection to her. And I make them every single year without fail because that's just, and anybody who knows me knows that's what they're going to get because of her, because that's my signature thing that I make because of my grandma.
Yeah. Oh,
Definitely my favorite. Yeah.
cool.
Ethan Ethan has a big thing for lemon though, so he tosses
Mm.
up between ginger snaps and lemon squares. So
Oh, yummy. Yummy.
mm.
Do you find that with the kids that their taste buds have changed? And so you may have baked certain things at one point, but now you're baking something different because they don't no longer like it, or it's still their favorites from when they were little.
Well, Ethan changed because he can't have caffeine. Right. So we couldn't do chocolate chip cookies or things like that anymore for him, brownies, nothing like that. So we've had to find other things, obviously using white chocolate and stuff in place. Um, for change in taste, not so much. Austin still pretty much eats anything you put in front of him. He'll eat it. Um, Ethan is my critic, though. If
Yeah.
I make something and I've never tried it before, he tastes it first. And I made cookies the other day, and it was a white chocolate cranberry, a different kind than I've ever made. And he's tasting it and he's eating it. And he's like, it's a little crunchy on the outside, it's soft on the inside. These are good, Mom. These are good. So I base a lot of what my baking is going to be depending on Ethan, because there has been times where he's like, Mom, this is not good. Don't make this one again. Okay. So he's my critic for
Oh,
sure.
I love
But he
that.
bakes, right? He does his own baking, he does his own cooking, so he's valid in his opinions for sure.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Well, at least it valid in his own opinions. Like, how awesome is that? That's
Yeah, he was
yeah.
he's a funny character for sure, that child. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that he tells you, like, "Mom, that's not good." Because I know, like, with my mom, we would have been terrified to tell her that.
gosh, no. Ethan is straight up with me for sure, and it's his opinion. I'll bring something in, and I'll be like, "Don't worry, Ethan likes it. We're good. You can have them. They passed."
Yeah.
So yeah, he's always been good.
Yeah. I'd be curious for those of you watching or on the replay, let me know what you like to bake. What's your favorite thing to bake? It's funny because for years, yeah, for me it changed. It was like a thing. It was cookies, and then it was cupcakes, and then I went through a period where it was like I love doing shortbread. I had a recipe from a friend years ago where you took a Toblerone and you cut the pieces off the Toblerone and you put it in the center of the shortbread and you baked them.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
found a white chocolate cranberry shortbread cookie recipe. We should
Ooh.
try making that. That one
Yes.
would be good for sure.
Yeah.
I love shortbread. I do.
Yeah,
It's
me too.
very tasty.
I find over the years I've changed from the sweet, not liking so much sweet, going to a little bit more where, yeah, it's slightly sweet. Like stuff I used to love, like sugar cookies, I just don't like anymore.
No, no, I'm
Yeah.
not big on that either. Although I always made sugar cookies for the boys every year on their birthday. And this was the only year because I couldn't bring stuff into school, but I'd make sugar cookies and they would take it into school. And when they got into senior high, I made them for their friends, little bags, but fortunately we couldn't do that this year. So,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
but
How are they finding it in school now? Do you have grade 12 and grade
10,
9? 10.
grade 10. Well, they're going to All Saints, and All Saints is the first school doing things a little bit differently. So what they've done is in each quarter, they're doing 2 core classes. So right now, Ethan is working on math and he's working on Comtech. So half the day is Comtech and half the day is math. So 6 months of math is being crammed into 2 months. That way, if they're away sick, they're only missing 1 core class. They're not missing 4 and then trying to make it back up. And if they're going to be doing, if they are away for any reason and they decide to go online, it's only 1 class that they're trying to concentrate on. So it's definitely been harder. And he's told me that. He's like, I come home and I've got too much in my brain and I can't put it all together.
Yeah.
But it's only 2 months and he's done and he moves on to something else. So it's got its perks. There's no social contact allowed. So that's tough. The kids that he was at school with, he doesn't see them anymore. We live right around the corner from the school. So because you're not technically supposed to be with anybody else, they come home every day. So definitely no social interaction. It's a lot harder on them, I think, more than anything. Being
Oh.
there and not being able to see your friends is it's definitely got its toll on them for sure. I
So are the
find
classes smaller and do they have them spaced out? Is that what they're doing or?
they have them spaced out and they wear masks all day except
Yeah.
for when they're on lunch and they're given what's called a mask break. So the desks have different color tape on them and Ethan's desk is yellow. So there's a certain amount of time when if you are a yellow desk, you can take your mask off, but everybody else has to leave theirs on so you can get a break from it. Right?
Oh.
That's their way to kind of alleviate it all. But it's definitely a learning curve, and they've said that it's completely different for them not being able to go and hang out with your friends and hang out in the parking lot or do anything. You can't now. You have to leave or stay separate from everybody. So I'm lucky the 2 boys are in school together, so they come home together, which is good. But it's definitely we do have some friends with younger kids, and it's hard on them not being able to hang out with their friends.
Yeah, it would be for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, I can't imagine. Really, I can't because it would be tough. And then to try and like figure it out mentally and be okay with it.
Yeah, well, Ozzy is trying to get all the credits that he needs for university, and we don't even know if they're going to be doing finals at the end of the year. So it's completely different because we don't know what they'll be doing for universities next year. So it's pretty much wake up every day and go and see what's going to happen. So it
Oh yeah.
is it is harder not being able to communicate with the teachers the way that we could in the past is a lot harder.
Mhm.
So it's a learning curve, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
And then again, still people with younger kids, it's got to be more tough because they're dependent so much on their teachers and on their friends, and to be able to not have that would be very hard on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow. The universities that Ozzy's looking into, are they doing more courses online or?
He's looking at quite a few of them right now, and he's trying to find one where he can actually go to. Like he's looking at UBC in the Okanagan as his first choice, and then he's got Mount Royal and U of A here, and then he's got a few in the U.S. he wants to look into. His goal is to be at school as much as possible. Austin struggles with, he needs to be one-on-one teaching. He needs to be there with his teacher face to face to go over questions. When you try to do something online, it just doesn't click for him. That connection is not there, whereas Ethan can, right? So
Mhm.
it's going to be a lot tougher trying to find the courses that he needs in a classroom at a university because most of it now is being done online.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I never really thought of that, but that's gonna be a big impact for kids,
Yeah.
for
Oh,
how they learn.
yeah, it hit him hard trying to keep things finished in grade 11 and struggling with it, and he did a lot of Zoom chats with his teachers
Mhm.
trying to figure it out, and then he would get it when he was dealing with them one on one,
Mhm.
but trying to go on to D2L and do a class and not know and not have somebody to talk to, and nobody sitting there in front of you on a whiteboard telling you point by point how to do it. It Some kids just don't have that connection, and Ethan or Austin is one of the people that needs that physical social connection to be able to understand it.
Yeah, exactly. And then being the parent and trying to support him and help him through all of it, right?
Yeah, well, it's definitely not like they taught us when I was in school. That yeah, just call your teacher. Do you need me to hire you a tutor? Is pretty much the answers that I had for him on them. So Roger's the smart one. Ask your father. Your father will know. Talk to your father.
There you
That was my answer.
go. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, my dear. I won't keep you all night. I love that you shared that because you know what, I'm really fascinated by how families are making out and kids, and it's just because I've been talking to a few other coach friends, like even my brother, and it's like everybody's handling it a different way. You know, this the new normal kind of thing, and it's really interesting because I mean you're the one I know, a teenage boy, so I was just curious how you're handling it, you know, with teenagers. So yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that you asked me.
Yeah, thank you so much, and hang on, and yeah, hang on, and then I'll just end. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Those watching on the replay, I'm still curious. Like, what are you doing to keep your kids occupied, or what did you do it over the summer? And then also share with me what you love to bake. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Thanks, Mariah.
Thank you. Bye.